Thanks for joining us for part 4, the fourth and final episode of the series. I've got the founder of the Idaho Gaming League, our sponsor, Idaho Gaming League, home of Idaho eSports, on this interview with me today. We're going to be talking about what the Idaho Gaming League is, as well as, having him share some knowledge from his side in esports. And we're going to be talking about how the worlds of sports and esports collide. So I want to first welcome on Chad Mann, founder of the Idaho Gaming League. Chad, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, it's great to be here. I appreciate you having me, and we're excited to see what you're doing here and getting the word out with esports, and we love it, so thanks for having us.
I'm ecstatic to have you. Now, Chad, can you give us a little bit of a breakdown of where you're from and what your ties to Idaho are?
Yeah, I grew up in Utah, down there in West Jordan, Utah, and, loved it down there. All my family grew up and lived down there, and I actually joined the Air Force right out of high school. So at the age of 18, I got stationed in Mountain Home, Idaho, which was just, I got to say, the funnest place I've ever been in my life. Not a bad place, but anyways, I spent my next 6 years of active duty stationed at Mountain Home, and I just loved Idaho. So when my time was up, I said, man, I got to stay here. This is home. Yeah, well, I got stationed out here in it was 2009, right at the end of 2009. So I've been here getting closer and closer to that 10-year mark, and it's great. I would never leave, man. This is the best state in all 50 of them.
I love that you're showing some love for our potato state here in Idaho. Good, man. And Chad, I've known you, through basketball, so I know you have ties to some traditional sports, but obviously we're talking about esports today. We want to talk about the Idaho Gaming League, but I want to know, what your background is in the esports industry.
Man, as a little kid, I remember the first really exciting Christmas in my memory was unwrapping a Super Nintendo with my sister and brother. And man, we went nuts for that thing, man. It was like Mario, and so it was I was so young, and I maybe was 6 or 7 years old at the time. Maybe even younger, and that was the coolest thing I'd ever seen in my life. So I was hooked right then and there. And I actually started gaming before I ever got involved in organized sports or anything like that. And as I got older, man, it was just me and my buddies would hang out in the arcades, and we were just hooked from the moment any new game came out. We all had we had our little group of friends, and we all had our gaming magazines, and at recess in school, we'd go look at the games, what's coming out next month. And, we didn't have as much internet access back then either. So the magazines were the hottest thing. So I've been hooked to it since the earliest memories of my life, man. That's
so awesome, man. And you've played quite a few games, it sounds like, but I want to know, do you have any favorites that you've played or still play to this day?
Without a doubt, man. The sports games have always been huge for me. So Madden football. In my family, we even have a trophy that we pass around. So when we do our family reunions, we have a big Madden tournament, and it's a trophy that's gone back and forth between Idaho and Utah now for quite a few years. Since I've lived up here. But, Madden was always a huge one. NBA Live or NBA 2K, whichever one's good that year. And, those games have always been great. But also, growing up, GoldenEye was one of my favorites back in the day, the old James Bond game. And, any of those first-person shooters were always fun. But definitely those are the key ones throughout my life. But, man, right now, Fortnite's taken over everything. That thing is the most addicting, fun game I've ever played in my life.
I hear you, man. I'm not a huge Fortnite guy. You heard me in the other interviews, but my friends are, so I'm around it quite a bit. And I'm a Madden guy. I'm a huge Madden guy. I've been playing Madden my entire life. Just got the new one. I get one every single year. Get excited for it every single year. But funny thing about Madden is my buddy and I, my best friend, we would play, against each other all the time. But when we started getting, older, things started getting nasty. We'd say some mean things to each other, and it was kind of ruining our friendship in a sense. So now we found a solution for that. You just play on the same team, and it kind of ends that whole situation. But I do have a question for you, though, Chad. Is that GoldenEye the one that was on the N64?
Yep, way back in the day, man. I remember we used to our family would get together, and we'd have the 4 players on a screen, man. But we always had the family rule, and all my old school gamers will recognize this, but nobody could play as Odd Job because he was so small. So.
I gotcha. So there was kind of a little cheat code there. I actually think I remember that. Now, Chad, I know you, and I mentioned this before, I know you through basketball. I know you have some ties to some traditional sports, but could you explain to the listeners what your ties to traditional sports are? I said basketball, but what about basketball, and what are you involved with?
Yeah, man. Well, while I was in the military, one of our things in the military is you've got to be a member of the community and give back and do a certain level of community service. And for me, it was like, well, I would love to coach, and it meets both those criteria. So that's kind of where I started with coaching, and I got a couple AAU and YMCA 7th and 8th grade teams, and just kind of chugged away with it for years and years. And now, I've had experience as a student assistant at the College of Idaho. I spent time as a head coach out in Homedale. And just, I do so much in the high school basketball right now. And then also one of my favorite things to do every summer is I work with a club basketball team called Select Basketball, where we travel all across the Northwest to some of the bigger NCAA tournaments. And I mean, I just try and stay as active in the basketball world as possible. And it's kind of funny too how the worlds collide, because gaming has been such a bridge for me to really, get to know these kids and break barriers sometimes, because there's a lot of kids who have a lot of things going on in their life, or maybe they're a little reserved. But gaming just seems everybody plays games nowadays. So it's kind of actually pretty cool how the two worlds collide. And, we've actually used like morale, like team building exercises where we do 2K tournaments or Madden tournaments. So it's really cool how those two worlds collide.
For sure. I think that's awesome. It's awesome how they collide, and I think that's a unique perspective on it. And for you, being in traditional sports and having both sides of it, you have eSports background from gaming and then the traditional sports. Is this kind of what motivated you to start the Idaho Gaming League?
Man, so, I've always loved the competitive gaming side of things. I'm a competitive person. I think most athletes try to be competitive, or at least we think we're the best at everything we do. There's really not a whole lot in Idaho. Kind of a few years back, I remember going to GameStop at midnight to pick up the newest Madden. And I was sitting there thinking, man, growing up in Salt Lake, we would have a line out the door and people would be playing a Madden tournament inside. And that wasn't here. So I just kind of in the back of my mind started thinking, man, I miss those things. I wish we had that here. And it's always kind of been in the back of my mind. And then oddly enough, again, the way the worlds collide, this last summer, we were on the road with Select Basketball, and one of the other coaches, Marcus Graham, who is a really competitive gamer, and he's my partner with ICL. But he was on the bus, and we had this 15-hour ride, I don't know if it's 15, but it was a long bus ride. And we just started talking about games, and it's kind of weird because it's almost been like a non-font thing in coaching, because we're basketball coaches there to focus on basketball. And it always felt like we had to be low-key gamers. And then Marcus was just like me in the sense that we were both comic book nerds, and we were both, hardcore gamers and loved all these, comic book world kind of things. And so we just started talking, and I kind of threw him my idea, my idea of how do we bring competitive gaming to Idaho. And then we just kind of inspired each other, and we hit the ground running. And it's been, this thing's just snowballed since. We've been catching so much excitement. Everybody that I've talked to is just blown away. And it inspired me to work harder every day with it, because it seems like there's definitely people who are like me and excited for a level of competitive gaming.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And for me, I don't know too much about this, but is the Idaho Gaming League like the first of its kind here in the community? Because I don't see too many, businesses or any for that matter that are doing what you're doing.
I know there's been a couple like pop-up tournaments and different things, and there's some Facebook groups and different organizations that try to put things together. But our vision is to do this on like a grand scheme versus, it seems a lot more buddy organized, for lack of better words, just a bunch of buddies getting together. And we wanted to make it, very competitive with a state ranking system. We're building a high school league and trying to just have these things that touch all the different age groups to make it a very competitive market. We don't see anything in Idaho like that right now. But there's definitely some gaming communities. There's some small businesses, I think, around the community that try and do in-house small tournaments. But I've not found anything that's local to Idaho trying to do a statewide statewide ranking and statewide competitive level of gaming.
Super dope, man. I think it's an awesome opportunity for gamers all across the state. Good work getting that in there and being the first of its kind. Can you break down what the Idaho Gaming League is? Where do you guys play? Do you guys have somewhere that you play? Do you play online? Let's tell the listeners a little bit more about it.
So right now, what we do is we kind of organize these events. Our main focus is keeping the cost down for the community, essentially, building a great environment, bringing in as many members of the gaming community as possible. And one way we've identified to kind of keep those entry costs down is by removing overhead. So we kind of event organize and more so work on a mobile platform, I guess, for lack of better words. We just recently did a pop-up tournament at the Bam Jam tournament in Idaho, and that's kind of how we feel we want to operate. We don't currently have, a building that this is the IGL spot. But what we do is we organize events, and we ran into an actually interesting problem because we don't currently have a venue because we've exceeded our expectations, and we need to find a bigger venue now because we've had so many people sign up. But we don't have a physical location, but we're just trying to continue to bring the community together. And I guess we kind of had a saying that we're trying to get people out of mom's basement and into, whether it's a library or a Boys and Girls Club or like out in the park at Bam Jam this last couple weekends. But we're trying to get you out of mom's basement and actually interacting with people, or get off of the iPhone and the Facebook and actually come interact with people while gaming and having fun.
I think it's awesome because it's giving them that opportunity, like you said, that gets them out of their comfort zone because they're going to be having to socialize, but it puts them in their comfort zone in the sense of gaming. Good work there. I think it's a great point. It gets these kids to socialize and be able to, still have fun by gaming. At Bam Jam, the 3-on-3 basketball tournament that was here in the Valley when you guys had your pop-up tournament going on, from what I could see every time I passed by the booth, it seemed like it was packed. So I just want your thoughts on the overall reception from the community in Boise.
Oh, man. Well, first and foremost, I want to thank the Hordeman brothers for putting on a great Bam Jam, and they do the best job in Idaho when it comes to those kind of things, man. It was incredible. So, a little shout out for them. But, the Bam Jam thing was so exciting because in all reality, the IGL is a really young organization. We're about a month old at this point from the wheels have been spinning for years here, but the operational side, we're about a month in, and we kind of didn't know what to expect because we've had a pretty good social media following, but going out there and seeing how the community just was excited about it. We must have 30 or 40 kids at our booth every minute of every day. It was nuts. It never died. And it was real cool to see how fun and excited the kids got, how much fun they had and how excited they got about being able to go play their game of basketball and then come over and grab a Gatorade and play Fortnite with their friends and be competitive with each other. And we gave away some gift cards and T-shirts and all kinds of different goodies. But it was incredible. And then we saw a lot of, not just the younger kids. There was a lot of the teenagers and a lot of the young adults coming over and saying, hey, when's your tournament? When are these things going on? Where is it at? And it was so cool because we really exceeded our expectations to the highest degree. We went home after the first day of Bam Jam and had a little meeting with me and my partner, and we were both just kind of jaw hit the floor with the reception we had. I didn't expect, honestly, for this to kind of boom as fast as it has. Our signups went through the roof, and it's created some interesting logistical problems, but those are problems we want to have because the more people involved in this, the happier we are because we want people to be able to grow with gaming, and we want gaming to be as mainstream as anything in Idaho culture. And it will take time. We're not the rodeo or anything like that, but we would like to be something like that someday where people get excited to go to watch gaming tournaments and get out and embrace it.
For sure. I think you're in the right industry, though, Chad. I think it won't be too long before it becomes mainstream. Let's talk about some of the tournaments you guys are going to be putting on. I know you have a Fortnite tournament coming up here soon. Can you expand upon that and maybe talk about some of the other tournaments you might have coming in the near future?
Yep. And not to bounce subjects here, but I would be remorse if I didn't tell you one last little story about Bam Jam. It was really, really cool. And sorry to bounce around.
Oh, no, don't apologize at all. I want to hear this.
There was a basketball team that had traveled from Rockport in the UK. And it was so cool that the first day these kids were just surrounding our booth, and we had kind of a dance, like the Fortnite game has these different dances. For anybody that plays it, they'll know what I'm talking about. And we kind of had a dance battle with all the young kids, and it was the Rockport kids won the entire dance battle. So it was pretty cool to kind of get an international throw in there to the IGL as well. So shout out to those kids and their coach for bringing them over. But yeah, that was pretty cool that we got a little international experience there as well.
Heck yeah, it is, man. And that's just proof it has so much potential. You guys are already going global. But seriously, that's awesome.
Yeah. Well, and in regards to the tournaments, like you mentioned, we've got our open qualifier September 8th and 9th for Fortnite. And kind of the format of how we do tournaments is we're going to have 3 qualifier events. And through those events, we're going to basically identify the best players in the state. So we're going to have a tournament up north, which we're currently scheduling, and a tournament out east, and then our qualifier the 8th and 9th here in the Treasure Valley. Then we'll extend invitations to our invitational final, and that will be hosted at the end of the year. And that'll be the one we're trying to give away a lot of money, a lot of prizes, a lot of fun things. But we also have other tournaments. Like right now we've got on October 6th and 7th, we've got our Madden 19 tournament. I'm really excited for that one. I think Madden, believe it or not, is becoming more niche than games like Fortnite, but I'm excited to see the really good Madden players come out. But we've also got Rocket League. Nothing currently scheduled on our competitive circuit for Rocket League. We're working with that one and how we want to format those. And then when the new 2K comes out, we'll also have a 2K qualifier event as well. So we're really excited about it. Our Fortnite, our sign-ups, shameless plug here, if you want to sign up, it's www.idahogamingleague.com, and get in there and sign up now because we are through the roof and we're going to be closing them off here shortly because we just won't be able to facilitate as many gamers as we have if we don't shut them off soon. So it's filling up fast. Get in there and sign up. With Madden, we'll have sign-ups going. I'd like to get at least 64 gamers for that one and have kind of almost an NCAA-style March Madness bracket for that one, which would be a ton of fun. But yeah, that's what we've got on the books right now, and we're really excited about it.
I bet. I'm excited for you. I'm going to be down at the Fortnite tournament, checking out how you guys got things going and how you guys put it together. I'm excited to see what see the final product here. And if you guys want to compete in this tournament, there's still spots available, but they're going fast. So make sure to go to idahogamingleague.com, idahogamingleague.com, register for the tournament. Check out the other stuff that Chad just mentioned because you can register for other tournaments as well if you're not into Fortnite. I might be doing the Madden one, I think.
You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just look up Idaho Gaming League, and you'll see our IGL. It's the state of Idaho and a GL. And all the social media. We're extremely responsive. If you've got questions, we don't take days off. We game 24/7. So, shoot us questions. We'll get back with you. Yeah, we're really, really responsive to that. So if you need to know anything, reach out to us.
Thank you. And for the tournament, Chad, I want to know how it's going to work. So like how you're putting it all together. I know you guys had been, locking down a location, but you guys had to kind of switch gears there. I think it's going to be at the Boise Town Square Mall now, in comparison to where it was going to be originally. But I want to know how it's funded. And I want to know a little bit about the buy-ins, like what the competitors should be expecting as far as how much it costs. Is there any prizes? Who's the sponsors? What just like break this down for us. And because this is a competitive gaming tournament you're putting together. But I also want to confirm, even though the location's different, it's still the same date and time, right?
The win is still the same, September 8th and 9th. And this has kind of all been funded. We work with Good Game Apparel. We've got a sponsorship with them. And then a lot of private funding from myself to put this together. And then we're working with other sponsors, and we'll announce those as they come in. We got a couple little surprise sponsors that we'll announce as we get real close to September 8th and 9th with some of our prize giveaways. But as far as giving away prizes, again, we've got a lot of stuff donated from local businesses and sponsors. But then the other side of that is every entry. So it's 20 for Fortnite. It's $20 to enter per person. So if you do a solo, $20, duo, $40, squad, $80.
Awesome.
And every entry, basically there's a tournament site fee to help cover the cost. And then about 50% of every entry goes directly to the prize pool, which will be divided by percentage to each winner. So we have an elite league, which will give away some cash prizes, and then we have our recreational league, which will be strictly, controllers and gift cards and those kind of things. But to get cash prizes, you got to participate in our elite league. And I tell you what, there are some good gamers. We've had a couple events, like private events, just putting together some, kind of fun, for lack of better words, pickup games between our gamers. I've got IGL is trying to put together a team to take around to Vegas and Seattle and some of the national tournaments. So we've got a couple guys, and we're recruiting, so feel free to shoot an email with your resume on that. We'll sponsor your time and travel and those kind of things. But yeah, I mean, this is all really organic. I mean, there's no, what the prize is going to increase the more people that sign up, which is really cool.
For sure. I think it's awesome what you guys have going on, man. Great job planning this whole thing out. And like I said, I'm excited to go see the finished product at the Boise Town Square Mall, September 8th and 9th. So check it out, idahogamingleague.com, if you guys want to register once again. So, Chad, the industry's blowing up. We've been talking about this. It's already outgrowing what you guys had originally planned in its short tenure here. And I've talked about it with David DeVries as well, as far as the industry growing so quickly. I want to know what you think about the growth in the near future.
You know what? I tell you what, I kind of had an aha moment, like a validation moment. I've kind of been talking, throwing this idea at my wife, and she kind of always gave me a little bit of the cold shoulder on it, like, they're video games, grow up, And I was down in Vegas this summer, and, I've been thinking about this gaming league a lot and where eSports is at. And we went into the Luxor in Las Vegas, and they've got this giant eSports arena. And it was, just my jaw hit the floor seeing the type of investment that people were making in Vegas, which is one of the money capitals of the U.S. It's a tourism, the tourism spot. And to see that they had put so much of, their main floor is dedicated to esports in one of the top casinos out there. To me, that was almost like a validation that this is about to be unbelievably huge. And then since that day, there was just announced a $10 million facility in Delaware coming out. It's just blowing up. You've got colleges that are offering major scholarships for varsity athletics, even at the Division I level. I feel like esports we're breaking into the mainstream, but it's 2 to 5 years away from being as big as anything. I could even see someday esports passing things like the NFL and baseball or MLB. It's just because everybody can game. That's one thing that I keep coming back to is, I coach basketball and I hate to say this, but you could be the toughest kid in the world, but if you're 4 feet tall, it's just, it makes things kind of tougher for you to get a high level scholarship. But, you can't practice hard to grow. That's just out of your control. But in gaming, you can practice, and no matter, for virtually anything, you can overcome barriers to become a great gamer. So anybody can game virtually. So, that to me, I see esports taking over. And even watching NFL the other night and how many times they threw the flag for lowering the helmet and targeting and those kind of things. And it's just getting ridiculous in the NFL because of some of the player safety concerns, which I get, but it's also changing the game. And when is it going to turn into, I'd rather just watch a gamer play. I'd rather just watch, esports or something like that where it can be violent without actual human repercussions. So I don't know. I could see esports completely taking over when it comes to the entertainment scene.
Yeah, it's a very interesting point that you just made about people wanting to make the switch to be able to just watch a video game, and it can be as violent as it wants to be as far as a football game, and no one gets hurt, and you don't have to worry about penalties, this and that. You're right. The NFL was already losing viewership And it was not only just the politics, but it's the penalties that are being called and the the protective nature of the game. And while I understand it, the entertainment factor is kind of declining. And on the first episode of this miniseries, when I was speaking to Kenan Fenton, who went to the Overwatch Grand Finals in Brooklyn, he was discussing about the whole atmosphere of the eSports event. He said it was just as good as any major sporting event he's ever been to. So this industry is it's coming right in, and it's found its place, and it wouldn't be too long. I don't think I'm right there with you before it actually takes over if it continues to go this way. And if it does continue to grow, Chad, I want to know what you intend on doing. I know you do your stuff on the side of this whole IGL business that you got going on, but where do you see yourself? Do you want to continue in the esports market if it continues to grow like this, or would you want to keep it as a hobby?
You know what, man? It's kind of a conversation I've had in my household quite a bit. I love what I do. I'm a teacher as my day job, and I love that. I mean, I love making an impact with young minds and helping people see their potential. And again, I talk about where worlds collide. I use video games to bridge a gap with kids that maybe it would never open the door for any teacher. But because we can talk about video games now, they're putting their guard down and they're willing to take help and strive to achieve. So I really do love that from a passion standpoint. But with that said, at the rate we're growing, if we continue to grow, I will have to go full time with it. And I mean, that's a good problem to have. If I would love to go full time with this, but I think for me personally, in my own personal fulfillment, I would still want to be involved in coaching and teaching and making an impact in the youth. And what's cool is this would give me multiple avenues to do that. But IGL is already right there, but we're really looking to expand and potentially bringing on more staff and those kind of things. So, I mean, I absolutely could see myself going full time, but not to discredit the passion I have for the youth and teaching and those things. But yeah, it's unbelievable though how the esports touches almost everything right now. I mean, you look at some of these streamers, kids there. I think there's kids out there too that maybe could be streamers or could make this stupid money from how good they are at these games. I mean, you look at guys like Ninja who are making millions of dollars just recording themselves playing the game. I mean, it's incredible.
It is incredible. Yeah, that's the word to use. Incredible. It's incredible, but at the same time, these guys are entrepreneurs. A lot of these gamers that are streaming on Twitch and stuff, they're entrepreneurs. They're building their own brand, and they're successful with it when it comes to that. And it gives a lot of these kids hope. We talked about this with David DeVries on part 3 of the miniseries. We talked about, giving hope to the younger generation, these kids that used to get picked on and it was frowned upon to play video games. Now it's giving them hope that they can actually be successful doing something that they enjoy doing, and I think it's awesome. Chad, I wanted to say thank you once again for allowing us to speak with you about not only the Idaho Gaming League, but having you share your knowledge with us. So thank you for joining us, and thank you for sponsoring the mini-series here with the Idaho Gaming League. Make sure you guys go to idahogamingleague.com, check it out, and support them. But Chad, I want to know, do you have anything else you'd like to share with us before we sign off?
I just want to thank, all of those kids out there, anybody growing up playing video games, thank you, because I think you're doing something that's going to end up building so many happy memories in your life, right? For every time you throw the controller, there's 10 times you were happier than heck. So the gamers will get that one, I think. But seriously, though, I want to thank the Idaho community for embracing us so well, and, get involved. If you don't think, oh, no, I'm not that good. I'm not good enough to go get involved in it. No, just do it. You're going to have a great time. We've got recreational leagues. I mean, you can come out, it's like playing pickup ball. You don't win every pickup ball game, but you still have fun doing it. But it's a great environment. Everybody's here. I mean, it was so cool, again, at Bam Jam when somebody would be making a deep run or getting a bunch of kills in the Fortnite tournament, and the whole crowd would start going crazy for them. And it might have been kill 2 or 3, but it was a cool situation. And it was just cool to see how, like, one young man, his face just lit up. He turned the corner, gets a kill, the crowd goes wild, and his face lights up, just happier than heck. And so come out. Don't think I'm not good enough. Just get out and get involved. And finally, I want to thank, Good Game Apparel for working with us and being one of our partners. I want to thank all the IGL-sponsored athletes for putting in their hard work. You've got the toughest job in the world because, who can play video games all day, every day? But, yeah, thanks. And, thanks to you for inviting us on here and letting us sponsor this podcast. And, you're doing a great job, and we are appreciative of what you're doing as well. And we hope that this mini-series turns into something long-term for you, maybe doing some coverage with IGL or, continuing to report on eSports. So thank you for that, and keep doing what you're doing.
I appreciate you, Chad. Thank you so much. I look forward to seeing where we can go together if we collab in the future and we work together from the Game Time Guru and the Idaho Gaming League. Again, I appreciate you joining the show and sharing your knowledge with us, and I'm excited for the Idaho Gaming League and where it's going to be going here in the near future. I can see it blowing up here in a good way. So I hope you guys all enjoyed this mini-series. The information that was shared to us from Kenan, Alex, David, and now Chad was so amazing that it should definitely bring us a lot more knowledge. We should be more informed about the world of esports now because we had it from different perspectives. And my whole idea and goal behind this podcast is to deliver a panoramic view on sports so you can see them through a different lens. And the goal of this mini-series was to do exactly that with esports. So hopefully now you have a better appreciation and a better understanding of the world of esports. As for the Game Time Guru podcast, we'll be back every single Friday, as always, with new guests, new interviews from people in the sports world. This is the Game Time Guru, and we'll be talking to you soon.